Oh God, my relationship with death. Well, I mean, I guess the main person in my life who has died has been my dad when I was 16. So that was quite a shock and quite a life-shifting occurrence. But I haven't really, I mean, I kind of treated that like it was horrendous and shocking to go through at that age. But I think the grieving process in general is just so bizarre, and you're never really taught how to deal with that. It's only learned from the people around you. And so I guess I kind of associate dying with what kind of is left after that happens to the people around the person that is left. So yeah, I feel like dying is just such a bizarre thing. I can't even imagine myself dying or any of my friends dying. I mean, I think I just associate it with older people. But when it happens to you or your family, it's quite life-shifting and very hard to talk to anyone about, because people don't know what to say when someone's just died in your family. I mean, I still wouldn't know what to say to someone. So it's quite a touchy subject. I don't think it's talked enough about, for sure. And I think often it's treated because it's such an emotional thing, it's often treated as something that needs to be dealt with. And you think of funeral parlours and estates and assets and stuff like that. That was very much my experience of dying. And I don't know, looking back, I would have liked that to be a more emotional period of grief instead. But, it's hard to think about dying as a balanced thing, because there are a lot of procedural things that go along with it. I mean, yeah, essentially I think when you die you're treated like an expired product, really. And it's hard to have that balance with the right emotional processes, and it's really complex.
Dying to me, I've had a really interesting relationship with dying, because as a kid it's so scary, the thought of dying, when you understand the concept of dying, that you won't exist anymore and all the things will not be here, or you won't be there to kind of interact with them. It's such a scary thought. But then in my teens I kind of went through a phase of quite a deep depression where I wanted to die, and I don't know, that's a bit heavy to just drop on the second part, but and then moving out of that and things, I then worked into, when I was in a slightly better place than I was, I worked in an aged care facility where death was all around me, and I would constantly interact with death, and even cleaning dead bodies, and it was just so in my face, and it became less mysterious and more just a normal thing that happens, and it's part of this life cycle, and it's part of the beauty of life, that it isn't an ongoing thing forever. It's a cycle. So it became less, it was a tangible thing. It was it's there in front of me, and it became, I think seeing it again and again made me more accepting of it and more understanding of just, okay, this is life. This is life, and this is death. And this is the beauty in between is awesome, and that is what it is. I think our culture, especially growing up in Australia and kind of more Western, it's we hide it, and it's this, really scary thing and mysterious, and there's, talking about it's awkward, and, interacting with it, it's such a dark mysterious thing. So I think being in an aged care facility where you see it constantly and you have to be the one to deal with it, sometimes on a first-hand basis, just demystifies it and makes it more real and okay, in a sense of just like, okay, yeah, this happens and that's okay and that's part of life, and not as scary. I am a lot more at peace with it, because there's less mystery and just I'm more accepting of like, okay, well, this is the journey I'm on right now. I get to experience life, I get to do all of these things, and then it comes to an end, and that's beautiful as well.
I haven't really thought about it much. I think I'm really thankful that that's my first answer. And I'm really blessed that I haven't had to face death, particularly like in the people close to me. I think because of that, I can have quite a simplistic idea of death, that, oh, we're all going to die one day. I was in an Uber the other day, and the guy was so funny. He was like ranting about philosophy to me, and he's like, we're all going to die of something, I love cigarettes, and we've all got to die of something, so that's my chosen poison, and things like that. And I think sometimes we throw it around like that, oh, we're all going to die. But I think to actually face the reality of death is something that I haven't really done before. And I don't know if that's something because I'm afraid of it or because I don't really know what it's like to really lose someone that I care about. And I've lost people that obviously I know and love, but that are distant in my life anyway, so it almost feels like I haven't seen them, that they've gone on holiday or something like that. And so it's really surreal to me, actually. I think for me, age factors in more than death, and I guess aging is a way to death, but old age for me looms over my decision making a lot more than death would. And I guess sometimes I can be like, we're all going to die, I'll just do whatever the heck I want, but then when I'm actually facing a position where I'm in a precarious place and I could die, of course it's terrifying, but I've always been a little bit more scared of getting older. And I think realising now that I'm not in my teenage years, and when I say that to people who are older than me, like, oh, you're so silly. But that's huge because I feel like I've reached the first stage in my life that when I was a teenager, I wondered what I would be doing. And that's really funny. You're like, oh, I've grown up, We always think, what are you going to do when you're older? Like, I'm older now, if that makes sense. And so for me, the idea of getting older and not doing things that I love, or not even achieving things, whatever that even means, for me plays a greater role in perhaps some anxieties or some fears than death does. I don't think about death.
I think about death a lot, and I think probably not an unhealthy amount, but it is probably at the forefront of my mind a lot, and not in a way that I'm like constantly wanting to die or anything, but it's the same. It goes back to being so detached from this world that I don't know, I can imagine myself, dying, but it's, I don't know. It is something that I think about, and I see it as just a fact of life, and it doesn't bother me, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It's just a thing that is there and it's looming. I haven't lost anyone close to me, but I think about death because I still feel lucky to be alive. I haven't lost anyone, but I know that I've come from like a family history of just like genocide, and I know that I'm lucky to be here. And a lot of my extended family aren't alive. So, but I've never lost anyone that I cared about or anything. And that scares me, I guess. I guess I'm not scared about myself dying, but I'm scared about other people dying around me.
I believe